What's the other? Harbinger. It's stupid. Necromancer does necromancy. A Harbinger drinks vodka and fires a gun. That's not a necromancer, that's a Russian. There.
How did you do that?
Crush it, don't cut it.
No. The instructions specifically say to cut.
No, really.
Merlin's beard. It is perfect. So perfect, I dare say one drop would kill us all.
Harbinger is the third necromancer specialization that been introduced in End of Dragons expansion. It is the opposite of Scourge, and instead of generating barriers like a Scourge to reduce incoming damage, Harbinger inflict blight to itself to increase its damage but reducing its health cap in the process, which make it squishy. So I discovered lately a trick to make Harbinger deal massive damage and to heal itself in the process. Curse's trait converts 5% of the condition damage to healing. The healing you get from this trait does not increase by healing power stat, so Celestial won't work in this case. So I decided to use Trailblazer gear, since it has around 500 more condition damage stats compared to Celestial. And here's the cool part: to have perma 25 might stacks, since Trailblazer doesn't have a boon duration. We're going to use Aristocracy rune to maintain 25 might stacks. Harbinger trait inflict AoE torments and weakness to any enemies around it, and increase the condition damage as well. It is important to stand in melee range and face tanking mobs or bosses, and the reasons are to inflict more torment stacks, generate mites, and to increase the torment damage, since it's inflict more damage when enemies standing and not moving. So by standing in melee range, you forcing mobs or bosses to stand still to take even more damage and to receive more healing in the process. As for blight, it is important to keep 25 blight stacks, since it will increase your condition damage and heal for a small amount for each stack per second. So we're going to use the healing elixir and utility elixir. The elixirs generate boons if you throw it in your character range. Also, they will inflict some damage to enemies if they were in the elixir range as well. That's more reason to stay in melee range to benefit from all elixirs effects. As for the skills, we're going to use Blood's Power to inflict damage to enemies and to generate more might. Blood's Power also inflict bleeding and tormenting on you. But with Curse's trait, you can transfer these two conditions from you to your enemies once you enter Death Shroud. The other skill is Spectral Walk. We use it to remove conditions and to stun break in case you got CC'd. But if you want to use Spectral Armor to have more power defense, you can equip Offhand Dagger, since the skill 4 and Dagger transfer conditions. The weapons we're going to use to deal damage are Pistol and Scepter. Since we have a high condition duration, thanks to Harbinger trait that convert 13% of your vitality to condition duration, and since we use Trailblazer that has vitality, we receive more bonuses. The other weapon is Focus. The goal of using this weapon is to make sure we always going to have a lot of life force before entering Death Shroud by spamming skill 4. And finally, your main damage is spamming skill 1 in Death Shroud, since skill 1 not only going to inflict torments, but also going to inflict burnings and vulnerabilities to increase your damage by 25%, thanks to Soul Reaping trait line. Keep in mind to avoid using skill 3 and skill 4 in Death Shroud, because those skills consume Blight to inflict tormenting, but by doing that you're going to lose your passive condition damage and healing bonuses. For those who feels overwhelmed by this build or find it complicated, I made an alternative one. This version is pretty simple and pretty tanky, almost the same tank level as Vindicator build I made in the previous video, but its damage isn't great. The build is pretty simple. Keep using the signets of cooldown, because even when they are in cooldown, you will have the passives active while in Shroud, also improved thanks to Spite trait line. The build is pretty tanky and forgiving for mistakes, but like I mentioned, its DPS isn't good compared to the Trailblazer version. That's everything you need to know for now. Enjoy watching, and I will see you later in the next one.